What up, awesome viewers? So these are some of the things you need to know before you buy if you're planning on getting the Accord Coupe. The very sad news is that this is the last version of the Accord Coupe until further notice, but probably isn't gonna happen anytime soon, because the 2020 Civic Coupe is also being killed. So if you want a Honda Coupe that's an FF, that's pretty much it. You're looking at this and you're looking at the new Civic Coupe. Sad but true. Anyways, let's just kind of take a look at the car and see some of the niceties. And let's talk engine. Let's do that. So there's two types of engines. The first one is the i4, which is the one that you're looking at here. This one makes 185 horse, 185 torque. Comment down below if the numbers are wrong. And there's a second engine, the more potent V6 J series engine. That one makes 286 horse, 280 torque, I think so. I'm just gonna put like 100 extra horsepower because that's kind of how they usually go. But if you guys know the number, then definitely comment down below and let me know. But yeah, so with the beloved J series V6, you get a much more potent car. It's much faster, and it doesn't take as much more gas than the i4, which is good. And the downside to the V6 is maintenance with the timing belt. It's something that it's gonna have to cross your mind one way or the other, and especially if you're buying this vehicle used, because I don't think you can find a 3-year-old new car, because the last year for this particular car is a 2017. So if you can find a new version of it, that's great. But if you can't, then you need to make sure that if the car is around 60 some odd thousand miles and going forward, that they have a record of the timing belt service change. Because if they don't have that, you are going to have to do that yourself, or pay someone to do it, or however the type of person you are, whether or not you're like a DIY kind of person or not. So that's the main differences. They both take 87 gas, which is fantastic, because this means you don't have to pay for 91. Personally, I hate paying 91, because 91 is just paying more money for gas. So I definitely want a car that does not have to pay 91. But if you want to do 91, it's not like you can. So that's up to you. If you want to put 91 in the car, that's fine. That's, you know, your thing. If you feel like you have a peace of mind with 91, more power to you, but you don't have to, which is awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much for the engine part. One of the things to notice if you're shopping with a 4-cylinder is the single tip exhaust. It doesn't look quite as good as the V6 because it doesn't have that even outlook where there's like an exhaust here and then there's an exhaust there. Now this one you just get an exhaust here and then you get an empty slot there. So something to keep in mind, but you can always upgrade and get dual exhaust in the aftermarket. So just kind of keep in mind for that. This is kind of like a nitpicky kind of thing, but the actual stock paddle shifters are on the smaller side, which is good or bad depending on who you are. If you don't use paddles, you're never gonna notice it, which is nice. But if you do use paddles, it's too small. When you turn the steering wheel, there's not enough length for you to grab a gear, which is why I really recommend getting these aftermarket ones, because they extend the length of the paddles and give you a much better grip when you turn and you want to grab a gear, or grab a gear ratio in this particular case. Because if you're shopping automatic and you're shopping 4-cylinder, then you have a CVT transmission instead of a regular torque converter automatic. So one of the downsides about like the older Hondas is that their 5-speed is not the best, and not the 5-speed manual, the 5-speed automatic is not the best. So with CVT, a lot of the sort of automotive journalist people say that this is one of the best CVTs that they've driven. Fantastic. But in the long run, how this CVT holds up, the reliability of it, is something that we will personally find out together as the longer and longer that I have the car. Because I have the car for 1 year now, and I put in about 3,000 miles. Yeah, I don't drive that much or that often, so that could have been the reason why the car is very reliable. But if you do drive a lot, this could be a concerning thing. And if you feel like CVTs have a stigma of not being reliable, then you should shop for standard. If you can find a 6-speed manual with a 4-cylinder, EX or EXL, I'm not sure if such option is available, but if you can find the option for it, that's great. But if not, then you're kind of stuck with the CVT. And in my experience, the CVT isn't really that bad. But then again, I'm not really the kind of people that drive like very often, so it could be different for you. But for me, I feel like it drives fine. And in sport mode with the paddles, it's actually really fun to drive. So that's how I feel there. And one of the things now that we get into the interior is that if you notice here, I put like a little towel cushiony thing. It's because this is all hard plastic, and my knees would kind of hit this over time as I drive, and you know, because it's hard plastic, so it hurts. But if that's not you, then yeah, you don't need to do something like I do, but this is like really nitpicking. And then the other thing is that there's certain ways how the door is being opened. Like it stays like this, right? And then it stays like this. But if you move it a little bit further, it closes by itself. And that's usually not an issue, but the door isn't like the lightest door. It's a heavier door. So something for you to keep notice about. And one of the things that is actually really good about this particular car door is that I'm not sure if the camera is doing a poor job of picking it up, but there's a frame, like there's a whole entire frame instead of those pillarless doors that a lot of coupes have. One of the downside about those doors is that the window constantly moves up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. That's a concerning factor, because the motor for the window somewhere along here, like the motor for the window is gonna eventually crap out if you open and close the door like enough number of time. You're gonna have to replace that or repair it and spend money to do so. Well, if you have something like this, like a regular frame, you don't have to deal with that because there's a frame, so it doesn't do the little open and close thing at all, which is actually a very nice thing in terms of just not having to spend money to fix the car. So, and oh, another awesome thing about this car is definitely gas mileage. So I average 27 in the city, 39 in the highway. Those are my miles. But then again, I don't drive this car like a maniac. I actually drive it the opposite of a maniac. Is that, you know, when you drive the car, there's these little green lights that pop up saying that you drive very economically. And on top of that, there's actually an econ button, so you can push that and the car kind of slows down but saves gas. So this way you can avoid having to go to the gas station a lot, which is very good. So yeah, I know, like at this point in the video, you're like, why would you buy this car if you're that stingy on gas mileage? And here's my reason. All right, this is a sporty two-door coupe, and I always wanted something like this, but I'm like the type of people that don't like to spend money to maintain or like do maintenance or pay a lot of money for gas. Like I'm not those kind of people. So that's why this car is so perfect for me, because I can drive economically and get good gas mileage and not have to pay money for gas or maintenance, because this car is really reliable. But then again, you're talking to a guy that drives like 3,000 miles a year, so not a lot of driving anyways to begin with. And on top of that is, hang on. Okay, I remember what I was going to talk about. Okay, so on top of that is, because I am I'm over 25, the insurance on this is actually really cheap. Is because I have a family plan, it costs me $300 for 6 months, or $600 for a year. So that means, we do the math, it costs about $50 a month for insurance, full coverage. So like the whole 9 yards. So yeah, that's something that that's something that you should think about when buying a car, is how much does it cost to insure it. Because sometimes what I notice, people often pay car payment money just for insurance. So you need to see and make sure that you can get a good quote for insurance before buying a car, because that can also mean you spend a lot of money. So you try to avoid that so you don't spend money. Okay, one of the things you also notice about this car is that this is not a small car. Even though it's a coupe, it's actually a large coupe or mid-size coupe because it's about the same length as a Camry, and the Camry has 4 doors. Obviously has 4 doors. This only has 2 doors, and the length of it is like it's basically the same length as the Camry. So if you're buying the car for practicality reasons, this is actually not that bad of a car. If you're like one of those people that drives other people around for like carpool reasons and things like that, because the backs, oh god, better be careful not to hit that. Okay. The back seat leg room is actually pretty decent, and even if you not sure how, okay, yeah, that's a lot better. See, that's actually a lot of back seat leg room, so you can drive more people if you kind of put the seat like this, where it's not like all the way back. But oh, this is a manual seat, by the way. The driver's side has power seats. So if you were to put the seat all the way back like this, you're still getting a decent amount of room. Like this is still pretty good leg room. So you can drive like 2 other people pretty comfortably. And if you're short, you can actually drive 3 people pretty comfortably, because for me, I'm 6'1", so nobody should sit behind me in theory, because this is what they're dealing with in terms of leg room if they sit behind me, and it gets progressively worse as I push the chair back. Now does that see through? No, okay, that does not see through. Okay, but yeah, that's like that gets it's not good. So if you're like 6'1" and taller, ideally nobody should be sitting behind you. And yeah, here's the power seats, and then you also have the lumbar support, so that's nice to have. And then you also get a pretty decent amount of like technology. You get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and my particular car does not have navigation built in, but you know, I have Android Auto, so I think that's good enough. And I think that's pretty much it. I feel like this is the perfect car for somebody that wants a sporty, fun to drive car, but does not want to break the bank and does not want to like spend a lot of money owning the car. Like the actual price to get one of these things, depending on mileage, I got mine at 28,000, so it was 17, like with everything out the door, it was 17K. So that's actually not that much money, and then you get a car that's really reliable, that's cheap to own, cheap to maintain, that's good on gas, that takes 87 gas, fun to drive, sporty. I feel like this is the complete package, and you get a handbrake. So those of you that likes handbrakes, you should really think about this car, because the handbrakes are going away fast because you have those little window switch power brakes. Ugh. Well, anyways, hope this helps. If you're looking to get one of these things, should be fairly easy. It's a common car. Not a common color. If you want this particular color, it took me a while to get this color, but hey, if you're not picky about color, you can find like a white one. Those are like everywhere. You can find a white or black or like a silver or gray or something like that. Those are like everywhere. If you're looking for like blue or red, damn. Red should be slightly easier, maybe slightly easier, but my god, blue is so freaking hard to find. But yeah, so if you're not picky with colors, it shouldn't be that bad. But if you want a blue one, it's gonna take a while. I don't know how long, but hopefully you find one. And good luck to you if you actually find a blue one. Let me know. And if you're around like the Orange County area, also let me know. And then yeah, we'll do like a meetup or something once the COVID thing is over, hopefully. Well, that's pretty much it. Yeah, subscribe, the bell for more content. You guys stay awesome.